two biggest things that happened to me during my MBA was one, winning 35 case competitions, and two, running my own venture. I said that, this is my calling because I am a creative person and I love writing and I love being with people. I'm an extrovert. I have to do marketing and branding. And which is why in my summers, I applied to all marketing firms. I converted the mecca of marketing, which was Unilever. I came back with a PPO, the only one in my campus that year. But what was really missing was me understanding myself. But what was the revelation was in the course of 1 year of running this venture, understanding business, and solving different business problems through 35 case competitions that I won. I just came to the understanding that I love multiple domains. There's not one domain or one industry that excites me, but multiple domains that have excited me. Because of which I chose to come to a company which would allow me flexibility to do multiple domains, and that was BCG.
Hello everyone. In today's episode, we have with us Pratik Ranjan from IIM Lucknow, who had won this award back in 2019. So a very warm welcome to you, Pratik. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Debayan.
So Pratik, it's been almost 4 years that you have left campus. So let's just deep dive into firstly, how was IIM Lucknow as a campus for you?
So, IIM Lucknow, as most of us know, is called hell.
Yes.
And I was crazy to go there because, I was a deep marketing enthusiast. I wanted to go to the marketing campus of India, which is IIM Lucknow. And the reason why it's called hell is it has the most rigorous academics, which you would ideally find in the likes of IIM Ahmedabad, and also a very chill party culture, which you would ideally find in a Joka. I feel like I was a chunk of coal entering this gold mine of MBA. And this mine put me under enough pressure, enough heat, enough tempering, that after bearing all of this heat and pressure, just as coal transforms into diamond, I think I gained some brilliance of that precious element, which is diamond.
Year after year at InsideIIM, we keep seeing such stories, or whenever we interact with students at the top campuses or any MBA campus, there's the same thing that ki, yaar, mujhe laga tha main to 10th, I have a 9 and 9 profile or a 10-10-9 profile, I'm an IITN. तो वहां पे जाके हमें अपना औकात पता चलता है. What would be your suggestion to someone, मतलब मान लो above average profile, doesn't have a lot of extracurriculars, मतलब how can someone get out of this feeling on the first day that someone gets on campus ki, yaar, everyone else is better than I am. How can I even compete with these people? Will I even survive these 2 years over here?
My advice to anybody who's doing their MBA this year or for the years to come is, you've spent 20 odd years of your life doing great things, right? You did great thing 1, great thing 2, great thing 10. Somebody else did great thing A, great thing B, great thing Z. But both of you have done great things. When you come to do your MBA, just spend some time figuring out what is your great thing. What defines you? What is your USP? So, something, all of us make the mistake of thinking that academics is the USP. All of us make the mistake of thinking that a great company is a USP. No. If you're a Bharatanatyam dancer who's done amazingly in your hobby, that is your USP. If you're a baker and you have raised a startup and failed miserably, that is your USP. Think of what defines you. No recruiter will ever hire you for an IQ. And let me take some steps back. When India started recruiting, a lot of our recruiting used to happen on IQ. You'll see these UPSC papers and bank interviews being, asking you who's the chief minister of India, whatever, chief minister of this state, home minister of India and all that, versus them seeing that, people with high IQ might not necessarily work very well in social settings when you have to work with a team. Because you're a great person, great IQ, but you do not know how to work with teams. So people started testing SQ, which was social quotient. They would make you do GDs and group activities and all that, right? The world has now transitioned from an IQ to an SQ to an EQ, which is emotional quotient, which is how much do you involve with what you do. And you should just, mine it out and talk about it on your CV and you will outshine.
So Pratik, now I want to understand about your ventures that you had launched at IIM Lucknow. Between the two of us, we have discussed this multiple times in the past. So why don't you share the same with our viewers? A side note for all our viewers, if you want to know how you can sponsor your international grad trip using your own money during MBA, so just check the link in the description. We have put up an article link that was written by Pratik back in 2019. Yeah, Pratik, over to you.
Great. So, Debayan, I think I'll have to take many steps back to explain that story.
Yeah.
In fact, the two biggest things that happened to me during my MBA was one, winning 35 case competitions,
Yeah.
and two, running my own venture. So when I entered an MBA, like most other, novice MBA entrants, I was very fixated on doing marketing. I said that, this is my calling because I am a creative person and I love writing and I love being with people. I'm an extrovert. I have to do marketing and branding. And which is why in my summers, I applied to all marketing firms. I converted the mecca of marketing, which was Unilever. I was offered an international internship with them. I also got the award of the best intern. They gave me an iPad and all that. I came back with a PPO, the only one in my campus that year. But what was really missing was me understanding myself. I did not know what would drive me, right? I was definitely sure that I love marketing, but I wasn't sure if I love finance or HR or startups or technology because I'd never done it. One remaining year of my life I wanted to devote to exploring myself. And the means to it was case competitions and running my own venture. So, when I came back, I started doing case competitions full throttle.
Yeah.
And just to understand the nitty gritties of business and to network with people, I thought I'll start my own thing. And the venture, which still exists, is called Helmar. Back then, it was called the IML store, which was about, official merchandise and souvenir of IIM Lucknow, which of course transcended beyond the boundaries of IIM Lucknow. We've made a lot of money and self-sponsored a grad trip to Italy with 5 of my best friends. But what was the revelation was in the course of 1 year of running this venture, understanding business and solving different business problems through 35 case competitions that I won, I just came to the understanding that I love multiple domains. There's not one domain or one industry that excites me, but multiple domains that have excited me. Because of which I chose to come to a company which would allow me flexibility to do multiple domains, and that was BCG. So in finals, I made a segue from marketing to consulting, and the best firm which offered the most gamut of work, most diversity of work was BCG at that point. I had one application, I applied to my dream company, and I came here.
So Pratik, you just spoke about winning competitions and participating in case competitions. So for our viewers, can you explain the importance of case competitions in a B school, participating as well as winning?
When you start a B school, all of us enter with a bucket list. For some of us, it is just finding an alternative career. We were already doing something, we did not like it, so we came to do an MBA to find something else that we want to do. For some of us, it is finding a life partner. People just come into MBA, find someone they love, go get married. For some of us, it is just discovering yourself, right? I think a case competition is the best part. It gives you great clarity about businesses. It just puts you in the ditch and kind of pushes you to think of the solution. If you do it diligently, you'll also find the best set of folks you can rely on. Because these case competitions would be humongous in number and will take a lot of effort. Unless you work with people who are fully dedicated, to the cause and put 100% believe in you, you will never succeed. So through case competitions, one, you get clarity in life on what you want to do. You also understand businesses more holistically, and you find the few set of people that you'll spend a huge portion of your life with after, also MBA. 2 or 3 things that somebody should, think of as motivation to do case competitions. Number 1, clarity on what career should you pursue, what industry should you pursue. Number 2, finding your real folks and friends. Number 3, money. Case competitions give you a lot of money, right? If I quote some numbers, Lime gives you around 2 lakhs, 1.5 to 2 lakhs if you win it. Same amount for an ITC Interrobank or a Mahindra War Room or a Samsung Challenge. So all of them give you a huge amount of money, and you have a lot to splurge, right? So I think you should definitely be motivated by all of these 3. And while I forgot to add that, fourth one, which is also very exciting, is you get opportunity to network and crack PPOs and PPIs. A lot of the folks that I have known who are working currently with Flipkart, Amazon, are people who converted PPOs through, PPIs through case competitions. So I think it gives you a headway against everybody else who's fighting for final placement, summer placements, to have a separate recruiting channel, which is case competitions, right? You just apply to them, do your work diligently, and very easily convert PPIs, PPOs in great companies.
Pratik, do you mind sharing the names of the competitions that you had won during your time?
A few of them would be, the good ones would be Samsung, which I won, Asian Paints that I won. There was this car thing that I won. There was something called P-Save that I won. So again, the other thing that which you should remember is don't just do competitions which are very renowned or very, great, because everybody would be doing it.
Correct.
A lot of competition, a lot of, therefore, rumors, a lot of pressure. You should do every competition, even the small ones. The small ones might not give you as much of limelight, right? Limelight, quote unquote, but it will definitely give you a lot of learning.
So Pratik, now if I ask you to break down this thing, how can you crack case competitions, right? So what would be your tips to your juniors appearing for case competitions this time?
So, if you think of it, these case competitions are ideated in some big, cubicles of CXOs or some big officials. These are real problems.
Yeah.
And when they think of giving this to college students, the real intent is to see if we can get some insight from among, the consumers, because these folks have a big network. You have around 400 to 900 students in different campuses across 2 years. And added to that is their own community. So when you bring a case competition to a B school, your first expectation is an insight. So as a B school student, when you approach a case competition, always look at primary research. Talk to people. Let's say if I'm talking about usage of biodegradable sanitary pads, you will mostly see people, and this is like 90% of us, we make surveys and put on WhatsApp groups and ask people to fill it. And all of that data is junk data. The better way to do it is just go and talk to 15 people. Understand their usage patterns of biodegradable sanitary pads. Talk to people of different strata. Somebody who's a working mother, somebody who's a college-going student, somebody who's a school-going student, somebody who's in their 40s, somebody who is from a rural background, right? And combine all of these interviews to bring out insights. These companies have all the resources to run surveys, to research the internet. What they don't have is your network. What they don't have is the time that you have to go and talk to these people. You should invest a lot of time bringing out primary insight. The most richest discussions I've had in the Q&A rounds of these case competitions that I've won is on these insights. So number one, spend a lot of time finding insights, right? Number two, spend a lot of time doing DVFS. D is desirability. How desirable do you think is your solution? Do people even want your solution to be executed? Number two, viability. Viability is when you do this solution, do you think it's going to get you money? What is your unit economics? How much money can you make? When will you break even? What do your financials look like? So that's viability. Third is feasibility. Always pressure test your idea with the lens of feasibility. Can this even be done? What are the resources that you need to do this? Are the resources needed too quixotic or unreal, right? So that's the kind of test that you do. And finally, you do an S test, which is scalability. So you look at how scalable is your solution. Don't make a text-heavy, data-heavy kind of a thing. Rather, make a story that you tell in your presentations.
Pratik, you had bagged a role from Unilever during your summer placements, right? How does the interview process happen at Unilever?
So talking of the interview process at Unilever and most other marketing firms, it's an extensive process, right? It starts with you filling a form, which is like a 2-page form with multiple questions. You write down answers. Most of them test you on behavioral and ethical scenarios. They look at how much have you evolved on ethical and emotional scenarios in your life, right? They also take your stance on multiple things. So that's step one. Step two is a group discussion, which of course tests you on your readiness with facts and figures and opinions, but also tests your behavior in a social setting. How assertive versus aggressive can you be while speaking? How uh, much can you push forth yourself to make a point? How much can you support the others, get opportunity in a group discussion? So some of those get tested in round two. The round three is like a small interview, and I would say small not because it's short, but the content is quite defined, where you do a lot of guesstimates, you do some bit of brand talk, and a lot of your technical marketing stuff with respect to ad analysis, market analysis, or even simple campaigns, etc., that you've loved get talked about, which follows a small HR round.
Okay.
All of this happens on one day.
Okay.
The second day, which is like a short interview with the leadership of Unilever, is everything about you. So they talk about your hobbies, your passions, what have you done, etc., etc. A lot about the brands that you love, why Unilever, why this sector, why this industry, why this role, and all of that.
How did you prepare for your summer placements?
I prepared for 4 domains. I prepared for consulting, although I had not applied to many consulting firms in my summers. I prepared for marketing. I prepared for finance because I was a fresher with good academics. And I also prepared for operations because that is where my previous job, experience was. And being an engineer, operations is something that you find like home in MBA. So these are the 4 domains I prepared in. Of course, I prepared for marketing as well. The 5 things that I prepared for in marketing was number one, extensive theory. Number two, a lot of brand stories. So I would know the inception and the journey of almost every loved legacy brand in India. You talk about any campaign, any tagline, any, a big brand, I would know the whole story. Number three, I prepared my journey extensively. Any behavioral question you ask me, I would have good answers. Number four, I was on point with my case prep. So market sizing, guesstimates, analysis, I knew it all. What I also did in parallel was a lot of ad analysis. I would watch ads, think of why is a certain color there, why is a certain person there, why is the aesthetic a certain way, and do my own analysis, come up with hypothesis, discuss with people. On top of that, I did extensive prep on GDs. And IIM Lucknow, you have this prep committee called Disha. They would have GDs every evening. I would not miss a single of that. So I think this was my prep strategy back then.
Pratik, now you're on the other side, right? So it's been 4 years you've graduated out of IIM Lucknow. You have been mentoring students over the last many years. You have been mentoring students over the last 2 years on InsideIIM for our summer placement training boot camp, right? What do you think is the ideal way for someone to prepare for the summer placement?
Few things. One, of course, you should do the basic hygiene checks, right? So if you're thinking of basics of Excel, basics of PowerPoint, basics of emailing, basics of storytelling, basics of problem solving, basics of communication is something that you definitely need to master. And I think we've done multiple courses, Debayan, at InsideIIM to groom people on them. So I think that's essential, and you should definitely do that. What you should also do is domain-specific expertise. So if you're going to a consulting firm, or if you're going to, let's say, a marketing role, you should know about that industry. You should know about the competitors in the industry. You should know about the future plans of the company that you're going to. You should know about the broad vision, mission statements, so that at least you are aligned on values and motives and directions with the firm that you're going to work with. So that is step two. Step three, as you reach your company, start your internship. Spend 1 full week just baselining and benchmarking. What are the others doing? Where is the white space? What can you do? Right? Some of these things. Beyond which, you should look at understanding what is the hypothesis that people already have about your problem. Because whoever would have written your internship project as a problem statement would already have some hypothesis in their mind. Understand that and work with it. And also understand that while people assess you on different skills that I talked about, people first assess you as a co-worker.
Yeah.
Are you somebody with a positive attitude? Are you someone who can be trusted? Are you someone who I can fall back upon as a team member?
Fair
And if
enough.
that is the case, I would hire you.
Pratik, you're right now at BCG. So every year, only a handful of candidates make it to BCG for their summer internship, right? And for all the consulting enthusiasts who are looking to join BCG as a summer associate, what would be your advice to them?
To anybody who's joining any consulting firm, my advice would be few. Number one, you should always look at it, come with an open mind, right? You can't come fixated with a single point agenda of cracking a PPO. In most consulting firms, the conversion rates are very, very good. You should not let the one constant pressure of cracking a PPO trouble you too much. You should come with an open mind. Number two, you should definitely be having a very high action bias. Because, in consulting, everybody is a fresher. When you start a new project, of course, you have seniors who are experts, etc. But as a new joinee, you would not know the sector in most cases. And therefore, just being agile, having the bias for action to very quickly, understand the industry, very quickly take decisions, very quickly ask for help, very quickly benchmark will help you accelerate as you start your internship. What also is helpful for consulting interns is just networking within the firm, right? And activating your own networks outside of the firm. So if you're anybody, before you start your internship, think of who is your particular friend who works in, let's say, a company X or a Y or a Z. Enkindle all your connections, because you will have to reach out to many people. So once you know which industry you're going to intern in, you should re-establish all your connections, ask for help, quickly understand some of these industries. 3 key skills that you should exhibit and therefore develop in your consulting interview and internship is: number 1, problem solving; number 2, being practical; and number 3, communicating and articulating like a storyteller.
Now, Pratik, you're done with your summer internship at Unilever. You went abroad, right? You're the only one from your campus that year who received a PPO from Unilever. So, how was it the feeling back then?
Of course, I was on cloud 9. I wouldn't have imagined that I would crack a PPO, also because Unilever then and even now has been notorious to not give many PPOs, unlike, let's say, a consulting firm. So it was definitely a dream come true, also something I always wanted to do back then as an MBA aspirant. So, it was surreal. It was beyond imagining.
Pratik, just one last question on this rejecting the Unilever PPO bit. Second year students जिनको PPO नहीं मिलता है, they are very, very, I know, I think for a lack of a better word, anxious for their final placements, right? And here you are, right, with a PPO from a dream recruiter, right? And you chose not to go ahead with that full-time offer, and then you chose to appear for the final placements, that too not in marketing, but to a completely different sector. So, at any point in time, were you nervous? Did you? अभी तो ठीक है, you don't regret क्योंकि 4 साल हो गए, you are doing so 4 साल हो गए, you are doing such wonderful work. So back then, did at any point were you feeling nervous or मतलब, because I'm pretty sure there will be students like you after doing the summer internship, receiving a PPO from any company, they would still like to go for the final placements, right? So just want to help them in whatever possible.
So Debayan, if I be completely true to you, yes, I was. It was not an easy decision. I was definitely nervous, scared, everything. But at the same time, I was very, very crystal clear in my mind that this is the last degree that I'm doing. And I will give it everything that it takes to make the right decision. I knew that once I'm in the industry, making any switch is very difficult, because you become very, very laser focused on one part of the problem. And therefore, while I realized in my second year, in the whole of my second year, that the gamut of an MBA is huge and it excites me equally, I decided that I will give myself a second chance. The odds were very, very high, because while I rejected Unilever's PPO, there was one application I had. So I couldn't apply to many companies coming to IIM Lucknow, but one company, I did my research for 8 months to find that one company is BCG, that can offer you this breadth of work, this experience, the best people to work with, and of course, a lot of other flexibility, mobility options, right? So I would definitely have felt like hell if I had not converted it, but it definitely felt like heaven in the process of just believing in myself and putting my full bet to say, if I've done this MBA, I will take the most out of it. But over the last 4 years, campuses have also become more flexible. Now,
Okay.
many campuses allow you to apply to 2 and 3 and 4 and many companies, even with a PPO. So for anybody who's had a PPO, has cracked a PPO, my advice to you is please reassess. If you think that your career needs a revamp, if you think that something else interests you more, don't fixate yourself to the PPO that you have. Take the punt, because moving while you're in industry, moving becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
As much as moving from within the campus. Also, my advice to people who do not have a PPO, just treat it as an opportunity to now explore what really drives you, because nothing is forced on you. You've had an experience with a firm. Now you figure, if you've liked it, look for the competitors where you can go. If you've not liked it, congratulations, find the place where you would love to go. So a PPO or a no PPO, nothing should leave you with complacence or sadness. It should only leave you with an opportunity to understand whether or not you want to do it and where should you finally go to work.
So, Pratik, now final placements. Okay. So, the first thing that I want to understand is how is a consulting, rather in your case, how is a BCG final placement interview different from a summer placement?
So, the summer placement and the final placement, while the core or the basic remains the same, you're assessed in the same skills, right? So it's problem solving, practicality, and communication, right? While the metrics remain to be the same, the expectation is very different. For somebody who is, applying for a summer placement, your CV is entirely your past life. And you're assessed basis what have you done in the past. Versus for somebody who's applying in finals, you also look at what have you done in these 2 years, and you more minutely look at what have you done in these 2 years. So for someone who's been a great topper from, let's say, the SRCCs of the universe and have done great work with the, let's say, the JPMCs of the universe, but has done nothing in campus, no extracurriculars, no case competitions, nothing at all, is not a good profile for a finals, while it's a great profile for a summers. So a finals is a lot about what have you done in your MBA as well. So that's the shortlist. Coming to the interview process, while the core skills, like I said, remain to be the same, the expectation from a finals candidate is also to have an in-depth understanding of a few industries, to make more logical, more structural conversations as you discuss, while the basics and the frameworks remain to be the same for both.
So, Pratik, in your experience, do you think that not having an IIT/NIT or SRCC DU degree, I mean, does it come as a hindrance to your placement selection?
So, Debayan, I'll be very, very brutally honest with you. It does not.
Okay.
It does not. Like I started this, discussion with, and we said that, there are, in the last 20 odd years of your life, you would have done something great, some hobby, some academic course, some part of your life that you would have done amazingly, right?
Yeah.
What you should focus on is what is that defines you. What is your USP? What defines your greatness, right? And you should bring that out. So while you might not have gone to an IIT, have you, let's say, worked upon badminton and done great at it? Talk about it, right? Most management companies will not make you do what you were doing pre-management. So if you were making cement, you might not go and make cement after management. If you were doing accounting, you might not do accounting after management. What you would do would be business decisions. And a lot of these involve creative thinking. A lot of these involve working with people. A lot of this involves a very high EQ. And therefore, as a person, you should bring out spikes or things that are unique to you, which can be a hobby, which can be a passion, which can be a side gig, which can be a voluntary activity, which can be a philanthropic activity, which can be a gig, a venture, anything.
Okay.
So don't restrict yourself to thinking that a grade is just academics. A grade can be many grades, and it's definitely with you, and which is why you're here in this B school.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for such a candid and detailed answer. So, Pratik, my last question to you, before we wrap up. So, what would be your advice to someone joining a B school this year?
So number one, prepare a bucket list.
Yeah.
Right? Write down everything that you want from a B school. Once you're there, it's a mad rush. You will never have enough clarity of thought and time to sit down and write what you want. Also, when you go to a B school, there is so much happening that out of FOMO, you'll want to do everything and therefore get derailed from what your initial objective was. So just write down what you want from a B school, whether it's a career switch, a life partner, a hobby, a founding team, a venture, whatever it is, just write it down and work towards it. That is number one. Number two, take it slow. There will be so much that will be happening. The CV, committee selections, you will not be able to do everything. It's okay to do 90%, 50%. Number three, find your support group. A B school can be very depressing and equally fun if you have the right people. Therefore, find your set of 3, 4, 5 people or one person that you can lean on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pratik. It was wonderful talking to you. Thanks a lot.